Hey guys, it's Layla from Ignite, and in today's video I'm going to take you through how to enhance your use of imagery when you're doing textual analysis. But before I get into that, if you are enjoying our content, please do like and subscribe to our channel and click the bell for notifications. And if you're looking for some resources to help you with your English studies, check out our website at Ignite HSC. But for now, let's get into today's video. So in this clip, I've chosen to focus on the technique imagery. It's such a common technique that students call upon, but they often don't do it justice in their analysis. And what I mean by that is you should never really just state imagery in your analysis. You want to try and unpack what kind of imagery is being used and how does that specifically impact you as a responder to the text. I've actually seen quite a few essay questions in past papers that actually ask you to discuss imagery in your analysis, and I think that illustrates the applicability and the broad use of imagery amongst students in their responses. Let's start off with actually discussing what imagery is, and then we'll start to look at the different types of imagery. And towards the end of the clip, I give you some exemplar analysis, looking at an extract where imagery has been used and then how you put that into an actual sentence to help you in terms of how exemplar analysis looks in a response. Okay, so what is imagery? It seems pretty self-explanatory, but imagery is anything which creates a mind in the reader or in the responder to a text. So if you are actually in a circumstance where you're in an exam and the question asks you, how does your composer use imagery to explore X idea? And you've pre-prepared analysis there on metaphors or personification or a discussion of form, you can still use imagery to link to all of that, because essentially all techniques that a composer is using is hoping to convey an image within the responder's mind. So that's broadly speaking. But what I want to encourage you guys to do is to not just state imagery, but to go further and describe, well, what specific form of imagery is being used by the composer. Now, a good way to do that is to think about what sense is being appealed to in the imagery. Is it visual, if it's specifically constructing an image, a visual image in our eyes? Is it appealing to sound, in which case it might be auditory imagery? Is it appealing to a sense of touch, in which case it might be sensory or tactile? Or is it appealing to smell, and we call that olfactory imagery? Alternatively, you can also have imagery which appeals to taste. So if you're reading an extract and the extract is appealing to any one of these specific senses, you can think about describing the imagery in any of these ways. Alternatively, you can still use adjectives to describe the nature of the imagery. Perhaps it is sensual imagery that's being used. Perhaps it's heated. Perhaps it's angry imagery. You can really use anything to add value, but what I'm encouraging you to do is to never simply say imagery. Tell me what kind of imagery, to really unpack the specific effect of the image that is being conveyed in the mind of the responder. Okay, so what we're going to do now is I'm going to read through a little extract from Bram Stoker's Dracula as a means of illustrating where imagery comes into play, and then I'm going to use an extract from the extract in a form of analysis to show you how, in a sequence, you would take out a quote, unpack the imagery used, and explain an effect. This part of the clip is especially relevant to students who are in the junior years and are looking at how to actually frame analysis in a response, right? If you're thinking about, well, what am I really doing in English? Why am I picking out quotes? When you look at my exemplar response, it takes you through how to identify an extract from a text, pick out the technique in there, and then unpack the effect of that. But let's have a little read of this extract. Then she paused and I could hear the churning sound of her tongue. Here, right? Direct, explicit link to auditory imagery. As it licked her teeth and lips, and I could feel the hot breath on my neck. There's our sensory or our tactile imagery. Then the skin of my throat began to tingle. It's not highlighted, but you could also argue that that's tactile as well. As one's flesh does when the hand that is to tickle it approaches nearer. I could feel, again tactile, the soft shivering touch of the lips on the super sensitive skin of my throat, you could actually argue here that the use of sibilance heightens the tactile sensory imagery in that part of the quote. And the hard dents of two sharp teeth just touching and pausing there. Again, that's quite tactile because it's discussing the touch, the feel of the teeth on the skin. So lots of imagery being used there, and you'll note that I never just said imagery, it was always a specific type of imagery that was being used in the extract. Okay, so when we're taking a step back from a text and we're thinking about how we're going to use an extract to discuss an effect, we're really working through this building block, right? Taking out a quote from the text, identifying the technique, discussing the impact of that technique, and then thinking about the effect. And the effect will largely be underpinned by the question that you've been given. It will direct you to what you need to be discussing, right? What is the actual impact of the technique or the aspect of form being used by the composer? Putting it into a fuller response, I'm going to show you how using this particular extract, we can unpack some exemplar analysis. So the quote I'm using here as an example of imagery reads, "Then she paused and I could hear the churning sound of her tongue as it licked her teeth and lips, and I could feel the hot breath on my neck." And this is how you would put it into the written form of our building block on the previous slide. So I'm unpacking this now with actual analysis. In "I could hear the churning sound of her tongue," Stoker utilises auditory imagery to convey the seductive but repulsive sounds the women in the protagonist's presence made as they lusted over the possibility of sucking his blood. So quote, technique, not just imagery, but auditory imagery, verb, and then explain the effect in a way that directly links to the type of imagery that was used in my extract. Okay guys, that concludes my clip there. What I'm hoping you took away is number one, not to ever simply state imagery in your analysis, but to add value to it, spice it up and show the specificity of the type of imagery being used. And also just to build your confidence on how to actually take an extract of a text and unpack the techniques that have been used. And through visualizing the exemplar, you're building your skills on how to analyze text and put it into the written form in your essay or in a comprehension response, whatever it is that you're writing. I hope you found that useful. If you have any questions, guys, pop them in the comments and I'll do my best to get back to you. But otherwise, if you're enjoying this content, please do like and subscribe to our channel and click the bell for notifications. If you're wanting extra resources to help you push through your HSC studies in English, check out our website at Ignite HSC. On there, we have resources that unpack the content, analysis, form, exemplar responses that relate to a plethora of prescribed text. Check it out. I'm sure you won't regret it. But for now, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video. Hey guys, thank you so much for watching. If you do like the content, subscribe to our channel and we'll have more videos coming your way.
That's right, guys. Thanks for watching. And please make sure you check out our online resource database. We've had a team of state rank achievers and heads of English put these together for you, covering everything from essay structures and examples all the way through to craft of writing and comprehension skills. So check them out at ignitehsc.com.au, and we look forward to seeing you in the next video.